For Chicago's wealthier residents, Dom's Kitchen and Market was the perfect place to grab groceries and coffee before working for me. For employees, Dom's was like a family. So it came as a shock when Dom's and their sister store Foxtrot closed all of their locations out of nowhere. On April 23rd, the company informed employees and customers that they were no longer able to operate due to failure to procure an investor. And 2 hours later, they were closed. Now, former employees are left picking up the pieces. Also, food has been sitting on the shelf ever since the close, and I'm recording this intro on May 2nd. In order to understand how things got this bad, I sat down with two former Dom's employees to have a conversation about their time working there. One of them didn't want to be on camera, so you're going to be seeing a lot of my face in this video. I hope you enjoy.
My name is Gabby Cruz.
My name's Gabby. I'm a college student here in Chicago. I've been working at Dom's since July.
I worked at the Dom's Kitchen and Market location in Lincoln Park from August to October of 2023.
When you found out about the closure, how were you feeling?
I was actually quite shocked.
I heard it through the grapevine and I didn't think it was true because it was just like another coworker being like, oh my god, like we're gonna close.
When I worked there, it was consistently busy, and I mean busy. I worked in cheese, but the brew specifically always aligned.
Everything seemed normal. There was like no indication that we were just gonna close.
Yeah,
like,
it was business as usual.
Yeah, and it was super busy those past 2 days, like at the brew, and like since we had that master shift, it hasn't really been that busy since we got rid of it. Like there's a new like incentive or whatever. So I was like, oh my god, business must be going so much better. So on Monday night, I get a message from a coworker saying that yeah, we're probably gonna close, and I was like, no, we're not. Like that, there's no way that we're gonna go bankrupt like that, and like they're gonna close in 1 day without letting people know. There's absolutely no way. And like Kayla's like, no, dude, they're probably gonna close. They're gonna close, and I'm like, I don't think so. Like I was like, I'm just gonna wait until I really find out, until they like let us know, right? Tuesday rolls around, I get a message from a coworker, and she's like, no, it's true. They're actually closing. People found out in the middle of their shift. One of our team leads, we were texting them on Monday. They were like, guys, I think we're closing. Like, and then he's like, what? What do you mean? Like, what do you, no, we're not. Like, and no one knew. No one had a single fucking clue besides some random managers, like, were, like, spreading that. But, like, it was very, like, small amount of people that, like, knew about that.
Like, did it seem like a rumor? Just like something that's going around?
For me, in my opinion, I felt like it was a rumor. Like, I was, like, very hopeful that, like, no, something's gonna pull through. There's no way that, like, they're just gonna close in 1 day and, like, they didn't let us know and all this stuff. I just had I did not think that it was actually going to close.
We sell specialty products. Basically, the concept that Bob Mariano wanted to create with Dom's was a baby Erewhon, a Chicago-based Erewhon, which is...
And Erewhon's like the luxury grocery store, right?
The most expensive grocery store in the United States. So everything that was sold at Dom's was... the prices were exorbitant. Like, it was... I mean, a pizza is $15. If you want to buy, like, Manuka honey, a jar of that's $34.99.
I thought business was up because we were getting so busy. And mind you, like 2 weeks ago, there was a bridal shower there that like they were catering to. Upon like many events that we always did, like I don't know.
I think it was ran very poorly.
I could see why they lost a lot of money because they did all these crazy events.
I was gonna say, I know before we were talking too about their program where it was the 150 and then you get a free drink.
Yeah, so,
like it seems like they were consistently overshooting on spending, and then
where do you see any kind of program like that?
Exactly.
Where do you see Starbucks doing that? Absolutely not. And Starbucks, obviously, we know like they have their issues and everything, but like big company makes a lot I Exactly. Do you see them giving free drinks every single day for spending? No, you don't. And I know that it's a grocery store, but still.
I feel like for a grocery store it's worse because $150 you can spend that in a single trip.
I feel like you could that incentive should have been at least $300 or more.
Exactly.
Because it would have been less attainable. I mean, still attainable though, because
especially
$300,
for the demographic.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I feel like places like that, it's not sustainable because. First of all, things are getting super expensive, especially in the city. Like, first businesses are closing down. Everything's very expensive. The rent, the property taxes, everything is super expensive. So all of us are kind of struggling to survive.
Exactly.
And then you open a grocery store that the demographic is like you're insanely filthy rich, where you spend a fuck ton of money here.
And they opened during the pandemic.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, this is the reason I also didn't think that we were actually going to close. They were opening another store in River North.
River North, yeah.
Also, like, there was rumor that they were going to open also in the suburbs. So I'm like, how bad could business be if they're opening more places? But I know that I don't know if it was in the winter time. I don't know if it was November or what, but Bob Mariano stepped down.
Yeah, that was when the merger happened.
And then the merger happened. And when the merger happened, things started to get kind of rocky. It was like, they got rid of the Master Chef. They got rid of, like, all these different things. Like, it was just different. And it felt like very, I don't know, all the Foxtrot products started coming in. And, like, it just felt like no one knew what the fuck to do anymore. Like, no one knew what was going on. And it just felt very chaotic. Like,
I think the only people who had any sort of inkling of problems going on within the organization was people like Bob Mariano and people who are very, very high up at the very top.
No one knew what to do, really.
Yeah.
Like, it was just all over the place, and, like, hearing direction from here, I don't know. It kind of was just a mess.
And as a worker, too, like, that has to be frustrating because you just want to show up and do your job.
The people were the reason that a lot of us stayed. Upper management was, I think, the reason that most people left.
The turnover rate there was insane. People did not last there long. And if
How
they
many
did,
coworkers do you feel like you went through, like, while you were there?
a plethora. I can't even name how many. I mean, with all the departments we had cheese, we had the brew, the bakery, we had the kitchen, produce, and stockers, and the cashiers. And I mean, so many. I can't even put in, like, number. Just in that short time. I mean, I didn't even stay there that long. August to October is not a long time to stay somewhere, and I quit abruptly. I didn't even give them 2 weeks.
In July, I guess, when I started, there was a lot of coworkers that were super rude. Like, especially in the brew, we were kind of infamous for being the mean baristas. And I mean, it's because the customers were like, demographic. You're like, oh my god, you're working with people who are super greedy and everything, and kind of treat you like you're dirt.
Absolutely.
So, like, look down upon you type situation. I never felt that working as a barista before anywhere else. Like, I felt that there.
I felt singled out, and I felt like people were unfairly treating me in the job environment. I felt like I wasn't safe coming to work.
There was a lot, like, of weird things that happened with management, like creepy stuff, like, I don't know. There was, like, a manager that we had that, like, all of us were filing complaints about for, like, months, and then, like, at Dom's, you don't just, like, get fired. They have to, like, put you under an investigation or something. And it takes forever. And, like, it's, like, there's already all this evidence, but, like, to be, like, so they're not liable. They have to, like, go through, like, this and this and that. But basically, we would know if someone was getting fired if they got suspended. Like, upper management was, like, the biggest reoccurring theme with all of us, especially with, like, the turnover and stuff. Like, people were just really frustrated all the time. Like, ordering, for example, was, like, always an issue, too. Like, so at the brew, we did coffee and stuff, and then once it hit 4 o'clock on the weekdays, we would do happy hour, which, like, when I first started, it was $7 drinks for, like, crafted cocktails, which is pretty cheap, so, like, it was really busy. But then at one point, they changed it to $9, which I still think is pretty fair. Like, it's a good deal. But mind you, like, it was really funny. I didn't really know much about wine when I started there and stuff, but I went to Target one day, and I saw this bottle that, like, of wine, and we would sell it for $9 a glass during happy hour, and the glass is, like, not
like
even halfway, like,
literally,
like, the saddest pour you've ever seen. And then it was $12, not happy hour, so, like, weekends and stuff. I saw the bottle that we were selling, I think it was called H3 at Target. Guess how much the full bottle was?
$12.
$8.
Oh my god!
For a bottle we were selling for $9 a glass.
That's an insane
during
markup.
happy hour. During happy hour. So when that happened, I was kind of like, this is fucked up, because people think they're paying for, like, quality shit.
Absolutely.
Because if you're paying $9 a glass, like, I mean, it's pretty much kind of like that everywhere, but you're still getting, like, let's say if I pay $9 for a glass of Prosecco, I know I'm getting, like, La Marca or, like, one of those types of brutes and stuff, but, like, I didn't know I was going to be paying, like, the whole bottle price for
a glass.
Yeah, and I know that
with the price, you're probably expecting something super, like, high
yeah.
end, good as hell, like.
No, and it was like an $8 bottle of wine.
Goodness.
So I was kind of like a little more generous with my pours, because I felt bad, and, like, I don't know, but it was kind of like they were, like, robbing people blind with
Absolutely.
like stuff, especially with the products and stuff, especially because, like, I told you, things were marked up very high, like. For example, the cheeses there, oh my god, they were, like, ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, Val was telling me about it. She said, like, a roll of something was just way too much.
So the thing is, like, it's not attainable for the common person. That's it.
And if you don't mind me asking, how much were you making when you worked there?
I made minimum wage.
Like Chicago minimum wage?
Chicago minimum wage.
What's that, like $13.20?
No, I believe it was around, like, $15.80.
15. Yeah. I'm 13, 20, I don't know where I got that from.
I believe that's the Illinois one, but I made Chicago minimum wage, and they were making huge profits.
Yeah, you're selling products for like 2 hours of work.
And the cheese we have, most of it was imported. It was amazing, like imported brie cheese from France. We had cheese from England. We had like a whole section of international fancy cheeses that we'd have to prepare, and those costed money, and they flew off the shelves. It was, you know, in the neighborhood of Lincoln Park. That's one of the richest neighborhoods in all of Chicago, and our clientele was all rich, and we were always busy. So the fact that it closed, I was like, what could have possibly led to this?
When I was shopping around at Dom's, like sometimes I would go like to the one in Old Town because it's like a bigger grocery store than the one here in Lincoln Park. I would just shop around and just like I wanted to go with my friends, like, hey, let's go to Dom's, like I have a discount, let's like use my discount. And like none of us would buy more than like 2 items just because it was expensive. I did a whole like walk around Whole Foods one day because I was just really genuinely curious for my like own edification. I was just like, I'm gonna do this. And then I looked at the products that I like oat milks and pastas and stuff, and that's when I noticed everything was like $2 more at Dom's, like $1 to $2. It's a small little grocery store. It's like basically like I'm shopping high end. I'm shopping Louis Vuitton of fucking groceries.
For me, my budget was never really Dom's prices, but they did give an employee discount, so when I worked there, I did shop there. I'm more of like an Aldi, Whole Foods if I'm feeling crazy kind of person, but I think for the rich people of Lincoln Park who love to go grab a quick meal or get their groceries from there, where are they gonna go? Good question. Lincoln Park's already a food desert. They had this beautiful grocery store with fresh produce and like all of these quality items coming in. I don't know where they're gonna get their grocery stores, and I also don't know where those small suppliers are gonna sell their food to.
There's people working like the dish, working in like all these things. Everyone's crying because they're out of a job, and that's their income.
Chicago's not cheap.
It's not cheap to live here. It is not cheap to live here. Easily I spend groceries like a lot of money. So like that $500 that I have, I'm very, very, very scarcely spending that because I'm like, that's all I have. That's all I got. And then there's people that like, I don't know how much money they saved aside. I don't know.
There are people who probably don't have anything.
They have nothing. They have nothing.